If you thought the miracle of birth was pretty, you clearly haven't looked into a conure nest box on day 3. At this stage, the chicks aren't exactly Instagram ready. They look like something that fell out of a UFO. Pink, translucent, and possessing a neck that seems entirely too thin to support a head that is 80% eyeball. The first week of a conure's life is essentially a competitive eating contest. Because the eggs hatched at different times, you have a step-ladder effect. You've got the oldest sibling, who is already a massive 10 grams of pure ego, and the youngest, who is still trying to figure out which way is up. The parents are now basically high-speed food processors. The mother spends her day producing crop milk, which is essentially a probiotic smoothie from hell, and pumping it into the chicks. The chicks respond by making a sound that can best be described as a frantic, rhythmic noise. If you've ever heard a radio that's not quite tuned to a station, but the radio is also hungry and living in a hollow tree, that's the sound of a baby conure. Around the 10-day mark, something monumental happens. Their eyes open. This is a double-edged sword. On one hand, the chick can finally see its parents. On the other hand, it can finally see its siblings, and it realizes it has to share the food with these other weird-looking aliens. At this point, they also start growing down. Not the fancy, expensive goose down you find in a luxury pillow, but a thin, wispy layer of white fuzz that makes them look like they've been rolled in dryer lint. They are still mostly naked, very clumsy, and spend 22 hours a day in a food coma, slumped over each other in a pile of lukewarm wings and feet. By week 3, we hit the peak of the awkward phase. This is the pin feather stage. Instead of soft, fluffy feathers, the chick's body begins to sprout dark, sharp-looking tubes called keratin sheaths. These are essentially feather straws. During this week, the baby conure looks less like a bird and more like a very angry porcupine or a prehistoric cactus. If you touch them, they feel prickly. They are also incredibly itchy. They spend their time scratching themselves and each other, trying to break open those plastic-like straws to let the feathers out. This is also when they start finding their big bird voice.